Yo, what's up? My name is Petrowski, and today I wanted to make a quick hotkey bar guide for Pokemon. So if you don't know, this is your hotkey bar. Essentially, you're able to bind things, change the bindings on them, add items, utility things, TMs, repels, any sort of things you might be using in your daily Pokemon experience to have, you have quicker access to them. So it's really nice. Imagine being able to like select bind things in traditional Pokemon games to be able to bind up to 9 different items and keys. It's super nice. It's super convenient. It even speeds up things like efficiency with shiny hunting and stuff like that. So it's super important to be aware of. Make sure you're using and abusing, and make sure you have the correct items on your hotkey. I'm going to go ahead and run through the different types of items you can have on your hotkey and my personal hotkey bar. First things first, let's just go ahead and talk about the keys that I have binded and why I bound them like that. We can actually go over to settings, go to control, scroll down a little bit, and you'll see hotkey 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Now, I have mine binded 1 through 4. This is generally what I do. Sometimes I'll go up to 6, but I find that on my keyboard with my hands personally, I usually can't reach past, I can't get to like 7 or 8 pretty naturally. If I'm using, I use WASD and then Z and X as my controls, so reaching all the way over to 7 is a bit of a stretch, kind of not comfortable, when I could much quicker reach over to F1, through 4, or then even over to F or other stuff. I see a lot of people use E and Q as well as hotkeys, which seems really fantastic, or even C and V or D and F if you're comfortable with that sort of thing. But having these hotkeys bound to certain things is super important. I recommend you bind your hotkeys to whatever keys you find the most comfortable and whatever works for you. Whatever works for you is only going to work for you, and that's super important. So just do whatever is most comfortable for you. There's no other way around it. Now let's go ahead and talk about my hotkey bar specifically. My hotkey bar would actually look pretty close to this, although my 1 and 2 are usually unbound because I actually use those for start record and stop record. So sometimes you might see that sort of interface pop up, but in my 1 key, I actually have fireworks here. You can't do it in this region, but I believe in Gen 4 and for sure in Gen 5, in the region Gen 5 in Unova, you can spam that and shoot off fireworks, and it's just a really cool cosmetic to be able to spam with your hotkey bar. Alright, next let's quickly talk about the Leppa Berry stack. So you actually don't need to bind Leppa Berries anymore. You actually used to have to if you wanted to do some sort of Leppa Berry shiny hunting. If you don't know, Leppa Berries restore PP in a move, so you're able to use them to restore Sweet Scent, which allows you to shiny hunt Pokemon that are far away from a PC a lot easier without having to heal. They do cost a bit of money though, so that's important to understand, but you used to have them bound, so you could go ahead and use them on the Pokemon, use them on the move, etc, etc. Nowadays, if you just use the Sweet Scent move when you have 0 PP left, there'll be an automatic sort of UI that pops up that allows you to use Leppa Berries to sort of regain that PP. However, you can still bind Leppa Berries the way you see here to be able to actually see the number of Leppa Berries you have left, and that might be useful to you so you know when you're about to run out so you can go buy some more. Now, it's also important to understand that you can actually rebind items or rebind stuff like this pretty simply in Pokemon. You just want to go ahead and open up your bag, literally just click on an item and drag it over to the hotkey bar. That is a super quick and easy way to bind pretty much any item. Now, binding something like Sweet Scent, which is my number 3 hotkey slot, is a little more complicated. You actually want to go ahead and open up your Pokemon's sort of summary page, go to its moveset, and you want to click on the white star here, the Sweet Scent white star, and then click on that and bind that to whatever hotkey slot you may want, and that will bind Sweet Scent. Sweet Scent is probably one of, if not the most important hotkey bind on here. You're going to be using it a ton if you do any sort of shiny hunting, XP training, EV training, anything sort of like mid to late game. Sweet Scent is absolutely crucial. Having it bound is going to save you an immense amount of time. Alright, next in my hotkey slot number 4, I have the Teleport Ocarina. You can bind pretty much any Ocarinas, but the 2 that I think are the most important are Teleport Ocarina and Fly Ocarina. You don't need to bind things like Surf Ocarina, Rock Smash, Cut, Strength, because if you have those ocarinas and you go up to a boulder that you can Rock Smash or that you can Strength or a tree that you can cut and you just click your A key, it'll simply just go ahead and activate those. You don't actually need to have them specifically bound. It'll just automatically start using them. Alright, hotkey slot number 5 is a pretty simple one. Just my bike. Just gotta be able to have it to get around. Really, really important one to have bound. Everyone should have this bound on one key or another. Whichever is one of the quickest keys for you to reach and access is what I recommend using it for. Very similar to one to the bike is actually my fly ocarina. It's really important if you have a fly ocarina to have it bound, or just have the move fly bound. You can bind fly the same way you did Sweet Scent. You would go ahead and go over to the move, same way you would any sort of HM. Now, I don't bind flash because it's pretty infrequently used, but something like fly is used very, very frequently. So go to that Pokemon summary page, go over to the white star, click it, and then bind it to whatever you may want to. It's the same thing as Sweet Scent. Having that down is super important if you want to have fly ocarina or the fly move in general. Having that quick access to mobility is just super important, obviously. Now, this is kind of a strange one. In my F3 slot, I actually have Dig bound, the move Dig. And this helps me sort of traverse certain caves. Specifically, it helps me get out of the Ditto hunting cave, which is one of the best, Pokemon to catch for Pokémon in the game. So being able to have quick access in and out of that cave is super important. So you could also easily replace this with Escape Rope if you don't always have a Dig Pokemon on you or don't always plan to. Dig is obviously nice because it's free, obviously, once you teach it. Escape Ropes might cost a couple hundred Pokémon per use. But yeah, having either Escape Rope or Dig. This is a very optional bind. You might not be as, in caves as often as I am, so this one's definitely more of a personal choice. It's up to you. The next one, F4, is Repel. Super simple one. Sometimes you need repels to get around Pokemon, get around the game quicker, to avoid encounters. Just a super easy one. It's nice to always have Max Repel binded. And then the last one is also a pretty easy one, the Super Fishing Rod. Now, there's actually two different fishing rods I'll often have binded. I'll usually either have the super rod or the old rod binded. I usually kind of switch back and forth depending on which one I need more. And it's super easy to just go over to your bag, pick out whichever one you need, and just drag it into the hockey bar and just change whatever you need. It's not too difficult. Let's say I'm sick of using the super rod, I can go ahead and just drag it off of my hockey bar and then drag in the correct rod that I actually want. So that's a super important thing to at least know about. Having one, I try to keep it limited to one fishing rod active at a time so I don't get sort of confused. Alright, this next hotkey bind option is going to be a little more specific and for a little more trolling. Similar to the sort of firework one, I'm going to be binding a vanity with a triggerable animation. So certain vanities have a triggerable animation. If you want to be able to spam that, the best way to do it is to go ahead and key bind it. So I'm going to key bind my Venusaur hat, and as you can see, when I equip it and press the one key, it actually shows off this little poof. And I can go ahead and sit here and spam that poof, as much as the game will physically let me. Sound effects and stuff won't work for other players for a while, but I can go ahead and spam the poof as much as I may like. So I think it's cool. Sometimes you want to be able to do that with either the Venusaur poof hat or the wolf mask or whatever sort of vanity you may want with any sort of triggerable effect. Now, another quick little tip before I close out is I wanted to mention how to move the hockey bar. A lot of people see it like this and they're confused. They say, oh, I can't move it. What do I do? There's actually a hidden sort of outer edge. If you see the hockey bar like this, grab the hidden outer edge. You see how now I can move it? If you grab that sort of outer edge, even though it's invisible, it's still there. And if you bring up your bag or some sort of other UI, now you can actually see the edge. Do you see how it's now has this sort of border around it? You can actually use the bag to clearly see that and move that, or you can just imagine it's there and just remember where it's at and move it accordingly. Alright, now I think that covers everything that I wanted to talk about in this video, and there's tons of other options. And if you guys have any other suggestions, let me know in the comments down below. What items do you guys keybind? If this video was helpful to you, interesting, or maybe even mildly entertaining, consider clicking the like button. It helps me out a ton. And subscribe to the channel if you want to see daily PokeMMO uploads and content. The Discord link is down below if you want to join a really cool community who cares about this game and loves this game just as much as you might do. If you want to go above and beyond and support the channel, there are links down below to do so. I also stream here on YouTube Monday through Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern. That's it for me. I'll see you guys later. Hopefully this helped out your guys' Pokemon experience just a little bit. Have a great day. Hey, thanks for watching till the end of the video. I really appreciate it. And if your name is on here, I appreciate you even a little more. Thank you so much to everyone who goes above and beyond and supports the channel financially. It allows me to do what I do and just focus on making the best Pokemon content possible. So thank you so much. Have a great day. I'll see you later. Peace.